It's all about mitigating at this point. The revamp of Sony's Japan studio and loss of talent in favor of its Western developers didn't get much coverage initially. What did though was the Days Gone sequel, The Last of Us Remake, and Sony's obsession with AAA games. You see, every move has to make sense from a business standpoint. So let's break it down and see if this makes sense. You miss out on talent such as Toriyama and producers like Masaki, and a different type of game like Gravity Rush and Bloodborne. Noted. So now the good. But there's not exactly one, just a move. A move for the bigger picture. If I was to ask you a question, which game would you want? A Jade Redmond or Insomniac new IP, or Toriyama Sony studio game? You would likely pick the former. Now, which game would you expect to receive the most accolades? Both probably, with the Western side taking more, but the former does numbers, the later doesn't. Let's put that into perspective. 3 million in 3 days for God of War, 10 million in its first year, and 500 million in revenue. 3.4 million in 2 months for Horizon Zero Dawn, 10 million in its first year, and 400 million in revenue. 3 million in 3 days for Spider-Man, and 20 million sold as of December 2020. That's more than double the PlayStation 4's actual sales in that region. And now let's compare that to Bloodborne, where lifetime sales of 3 million plus, which isn't bad, great actually. And you do need these type of games. But like I said, it doesn't do the numbers. The idea of making a specific game for a specific type of market doesn't really hold up well when the market makes a small percentage of your actual sales, especially when that market is moving towards a different type of console, one that you can't provide, resulting in decline in sales. Remember, Microsoft finished the 360 generation neck and neck with Sony, and they had zero presence in that region. Some would say you can probably dominate the console market without Japan, but you can't without these guys. But this doesn't mean you're not going to see Japanese games on PlayStation. That's a stretch. You're missing out on the talent, sure, but Sony's strategy is to fill this in when it's needed. Forspoken, Final Fantasy, Ghostwire Tokyo, all made by Japanese studios and all exclusive to PlayStation on launch day. And some of these Japanese games have the benefit of cross-border appeal, so they will sell millions, probably more than Sony Japan studio makes, so the investment is just being reallocated somewhere else. Just another point, there's nothing to suggest that these directors and producers that have gone independent will not release their games on PlayStation. So yes, you will likely still get to play one of their games. Whether that's exclusive to the Sony platform or not is another matter. But why would you care? That's a Sony or fanboy issue, not a gamer one. Last point, do we need a Last of Us 2 remake? No we don't. Is this a cash grab? Well, yeah. But keep in mind, Sony mentioned Sony Production and their studios will be working hand in hand together. This was bound to happen. And the Last of Us remake coming out around the same time as the TV series makes a lot of sense. Just like a Spider-Man game would alongside the movie, or a Green Ghost of Tsushima movie would as well for a sequel. The PlayStation division is important to Sony, making up a bulk of its revenue, but so are the other ones as well. If the rest fail, Sony's a few back console generations from becoming Sega. If they do this right, both divisions get a boost. Remember, this isn't a $1 trillion company we're talking about. Nintendo had the crown at some point and Microsoft was ahead as well. Both lost their leads due to their own undoing, a misunderstanding of what gamers actually want. And rightfully so, but double downing on AAA games and focusing on exclusive time content is not the same. These are games. These are good games. So let's double back on that first point I made. And just to be clear, when I say mitigation, Sony isn't going to dominate this gen. You're not going to see the same sales figures from the Xbox One and the Wii U to the PS4. You're already seeing that with the Switch. In order to keep the same strategy, your competitors and the market must remain static. That isn't happening. So they're double downing on what got them to this position in the first place, what everyone praised them for, AAA blockbuster games. And from a business standpoint, it makes sense. And from a gamer point of view, it does too. You didn't disagree with this in the past, so there's a lot of emotion in these responses I'm seeing, which is fine. I'm not saying this is a good or a bad move, but it is what it is, just the move. If you guys enjoyed the content, go ahead and like. If you overall like what is going on with the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Much appreciated.